the insignificant one. The holographic displays surrounding Dr. Lyra Voss rippled with cascading data, each crimson wave representing another planetary system on the brink of collapse. A quantum anomaly had emerged at the edge of the Sagittarius arm, defying all established laws of physics and threatening to unravel the fabric of spacetime across 17 star systems. "Increase resolution on Sector 7, she commanded, her augmented iris whirring as it adjusted to the influx of information. The room's ambient lighting dimmed automatically in response, casting her sharp features in an ethereal blue glow. At 42, Dr. Voss had accumulated more scientific breakthroughs than entire research institutions. Her cybernetically enhanced, brain-processed information 10 times faster than the average human. A modification she had designed herself after growing frustrated with biological limitations. 3 Nobel Prizes adorned her office back on Earth, trophies she barely acknowledged anymore. "The anomaly's expansion rate has increased by 17% in the last hour," announced her assistant, Dr. Kagawa, his voice betraying the panic he was trying to suppress. "I can see that," Lyra replied coolly. "Run Simulation Alpha 9 again with the adjusted parameters." The massive quantum computer that formed the heart of Helios Station hummed to life, its supercooled processors calculating probabilities across millions of potential outcomes. Within seconds, the results appeared on the main display. Catastrophic failure in all scenarios. "Dr. Voss, the Alliance representatives have arrived. They're waiting in the conference chamber," the station's AI announced. Lyra swiped away the holographic displays with a practiced gesture. "Inform them I'll be there in 5 minutes." As she strode through the gleaming corridors of Helios Station, humanity's most advanced research outpost, a maintenance worker stepped aside to let her pass. She barely registered his existence, her mind already formulating explanations for the Alliance delegation. Marcus Chen watched Dr. Voss pass by, noting the furrow in her brow that betrayed her concern despite her carefully composed expression. He returned to the open panel he'd been working on, hands moving with practiced efficiency as he rerouted power conduits and adjusted relays. Unlike the scientists who populated Helios Station, Marcus possessed no advanced degrees, no augmentations, and no remarkable achievements that anyone knew about. His personnel file listed him as a Level 3 maintenance technician with a basic engineering certification, one of dozens who kept the station's vital systems functioning. His ordinary appearance, average height, unassuming features, standard issue uniform, made him practically invisible in a station filled with humanity's intellectual elite. But Marcus saw everything, and lately, what he saw troubled him deeply. The conference chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from 7 different species gathered around the massive table. Holographic projections of the quantum anomaly rotated slowly in the center, its chaotic energies rendered in vivid detail. Ambassador Zorl, a crystalline entity from the Viridian Collective, shifted his translucent form in what passed for agitation among his kind. "The situation appears to have deteriorated significantly since our last communication, Dr. Voss." "That's an understatement," muttered Delegate Teresh, his reptilian features set in a grim expression. 3 Tarsian colony worlds are already experiencing gravitational distortions. Evacuation is impossible at this stage. Lyra stood at the head of the table, her posture perfect, her voice steady. "The anomaly defies conventional analysis. It appears to be a spontaneous quantum fluctuation, but its pattern of expansion suggests an underlying structure we haven't yet identified." "And your proposed solution?" Ambassador Krell of the Alderaan Federation asked, his multiple eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of deep concern among his species. "We've developed a graviton pulse array that should, in theory, stabilize the quantum field and halt the expansion," Lyra explained, bringing up detailed schematics. "We'll need to position 12 array nodes at precise coordinates surrounding the anomaly." The technical discussion continued for hours, with various representatives offering resources, questioning methodology, and expressing increasingly desperate concerns for their endangered worlds. None of them noticed when Marcus entered the chamber to repair a malfunctioning environmental regulator. He worked silently, listening to every word, his eyes occasionally flicking to the holographic representations of the anomaly. As he finished his repairs and prepared to leave, Marcus paused. "Excuse me," he said quietly. The conversation halted, abruptly, and every head turned toward him. Most expressions registered surprise, as if a piece of furniture had suddenly spoken. "Maintenance staff are not permitted to interrupt Alliance proceedings," Dr. Kagawa said sharply. Marcus nodded apologetically, but didn't retreat. "I understand, but I believe there's something you're missing about the anomaly." Lyra Voss fixed him with an icy stare. "And you are?" "Marcus Chen, Level 3 Maintenance." "Well, Mr. Chen, I'm sure we're all fascinated to hear how a maintenance technician has solved a quantum physics problem that has stumped the brightest minds in the Alliance." Her voice dripped with sarcasm. Ambassador Zorl's crystalline form shimmered slightly. "Let him speak. We have little to lose at this point." Marcus stepped forward, gesturing toward the holographic display. "The anomaly isn't random. It's responding to attempts to contain it. Look at the expansion patterns following each probe deployment." He manipulated the display with surprising dexterity, highlighting correlations that even Lyra's enhanced perception hadn't detected. "It's almost like an immune response," he continued. "Each intervention triggers a predictable adaptation. Your graviton array will likely accelerate the expansion, not contain it." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "Preposterous," Dr. Kagawa finally sputtered. "The graviton theory is sound. It's been verified by 3 independent quantum models. Models that assume conventional physics," Marcus replied calmly. "This anomaly isn't playing by those rules." Lyra stepped closer, her augmented eye scanning Marcus with newfound interest. "And what exactly are you suggesting, Mr. Chen?" "The anomaly needs to be communicated with, not contained. It's a quantum intelligence, possibly the first we've encountered. Your arrays are essentially attacking it." Ambassador Krell chittered excitedly. "A sentient quantum phenomenon? Fascinating, but highly speculative." "It's absurd," Lyra declared, regaining her composure. "Quantum fields don't possess consciousness." "How would we know?" Marcus asked simply. "We barely understand consciousness in biological organisms, let alone quantum systems." Lyra's patience evaporated. "I don't have time for philosophical debates with maintenance staff. We have 17 star systems to save." 23 now, Marcus corrected quietly, pointing to the latest data stream. "The expansion is accelerating." Dr. Kagawa checked his displays and paled. "He's right. 3 more systems have entered the affected zone." "Enough," Lyra snapped. "Return to your duties, Mr. Chen. The Alliance appreciates your enthusiasm, but we'll handle this." Marcus nodded and stepped back. "Of course, Dr. Voss. I apologize for the interruption." As he left the conference chamber, Ambassador Zorl's crystalline form shifted toward Lyra. "Rather dismissive of your own kind, Dr. Voss. He's a maintenance technician offering uninformed opinions on quantum physics," she replied tersely. "We might as well consult the station's cooking staff." The crystalline being pulsed softly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps you see nothing because you expect to see nothing." The deployment of the graviton array proved catastrophic. Within minutes of activation, the quantum anomaly surged, swallowing 2 of the array nodes and expanding at twice its previous rate. Emergency evacuation orders were issued for the closest inhabited systems, but everyone knew most populations wouldn't escape in time. Lyra stood in the command center, watching the disaster unfold with growing horror. Everything she knew, everything she had built her reputation on, had failed. Billions would die because she'd been wrong. Dr. Voss. The voice behind her was quiet but steady. "Marcus Chen." She didn't turn around. "Not now. We have maybe 12 hours before the anomaly reaches Helios Station," he continued. "I need 5 minutes of your time." Something in his tone made her turn. "To do what exactly?" "To show you how we can save everyone." Lyra laughed bitterly. "And why should I listen to you?" Marcus met her gaze without flinching. "Because right now I'm all you've got." The Alliance representatives had gathered in the station's primary laboratory, their expressions ranging from desperate hope to outright skepticism. Marcus stood before them, still in his maintenance uniform, looking remarkably calm for someone about to address the most powerful beings in the known galaxy. The quantum anomaly is a nascent intelligence, he explained, bringing up a new set of displays. It's expanding because it's learning, absorbing information from everything it encounters. Our conventional sensors can't interpret its structure because we're looking for the wrong patterns. He touched the console, and the displays transformed, showing intricate fractal patterns within the anomaly that no one had detected before. How did you isolate these signatures? Lyra demanded, her professional curiosity temporarily overriding her skepticism. I modified a set of maintenance sensors designed to detect quantum fluctuations in the station's power grid, Marcus replied. They're more sensitive to subtle patterns than your research equipment. Ambassador Zoral's crystalline form pulsed with interest. And you propose communication with this entity? Marcus nodded. Yes, but not with technology. It doesn't respond. To mechanical interfaces, it treats them as threats. It needs a biological intermediary. What exactly are you suggesting? Delegate Teresh asked. I'll enter the direct interface chamber, Marcus said calmly. With some modifications, we can establish a quantum link between my consciousness and the anomaly. The room erupted in objections. That's suicide. The human mind can't withstand direct quantum exposure. This is madness. Lyra silenced them with a raised hand, her eyes never leaving Marcus. The interface chamber would kill you instantly. The quantum radiation alone would shred your cellular structure. I'm willing to take that risk, Marcus replied. Why? Lyra asked, suddenly suspicious. Why would a maintenance technician sacrifice himself? Marcus smiled slightly. Because I'm not nothing, Dr. Voss. No one is. Ambassador Krell stepped forward. I sense there is more to this human than appears. Indeed, Lyra agreed, her enhanced eye scanning Marcus with renewed intensity. Who are you really, Mr. Chen? Give me 30 seconds in the interface chamber, Marcus said, ignoring the question. That's all I need to prove I'm right. 30 seconds to save 23 star systems? Lyra's voice was heavy with doubt. 30 seconds to show you what humanity is truly capable of, Marcus corrected her. The Alliance representatives exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. Very well, Ambassador Zoral finally said. 30 seconds. But be aware, human, if this fails, evacuation ships will have already departed. There will be no rescue. Marcus nodded solemnly. I understand. As the preparations began, Lyra pulled Marcus aside. This is insanity. You'll die for nothing. His eyes met hers, and for the first time she sensed something ancient and knowing in their depths. That's where you're wrong, Dr. Voss, he said quietly. I'm not dying for nothing. I'm living for everything. 30 seconds of truth. The interface chamber gleamed with cold precision, a technological marvel designed for the most dangerous experiments in quantum physics. Originally built to analyze potentially hazardous quantum particles, it had never been intended for human occupancy. Its interior was a perfect sphere lined with quantum resonators, graviton emitters, and radiation projectors that could generate conditions found only in the hearts of dying stars. Dr. Lyra Voss supervised the final modifications, her enhanced brain calculating the overwhelming odds against success. The probability of survival was so close to zero that the difference was academic. The quantum link is established, Dr. Kagawa announced, his voice tight with tension. The anomaly's outer boundary is now directly connected to the chamber's resonance field. Life support? Lyra asked, though she knew the answer. Minimal. Enough for 30 seconds, as requested. The Alliance representatives watched from behind the safety of 6-inch transparent neutronium, their expression solemn. None expected to witness anything but a human's dramatic and futile death. Marcus Chen stood at the chamber's entrance, still dressed in his maintenance uniform. He had declined the protective suit offered to him, claiming it would interfere with the connection. The moment you enter, You'll experience gravitational forces equivalent to standing on a neutron star. Lyra warned him, making one final attempt at dissuasion. Your cellular structure will begin to break down almost immediately. Marcus nodded calmly. I understand. This isn't heroism, it's suicide, she insisted. And for what? To prove some philosophical point about human potential? To save 23 star systems, he corrected her gently. And perhaps to show you something important about yourself, Dr. Voss. She stared at him, baffled by his serenity in the face of certain death. You really believe you can communicate with this thing? I don't believe, Marcus said. I know. Before she could respond, he stepped forward and placed a hand on the scanner. The chamber's door hissed open, revealing the perfect sphere within, humming with deadly energy. 30 seconds, he reminded her, and stepped inside. The door sealed behind him with pneumatic finality. Commencing interface sequence, Dr. Kagawa announced, his fingers dancing across the controls. The chamber came alive, its interior blazing with unearthly energies. Through the observation window, they could see Marcus standing at the center of the sphere, his body illuminated by cascading waves of quantum radiation. Gravitational intensity at 300,000 Gs and rising, one technician reported, voice cracking. He should be crushed to atomic paste. But Marcus remained standing. Quantum radiation at lethal levels. Another called out, cellular degradation should be instantaneous. Yet Marcus's form remained intact. 10 seconds elapsed, Dr. Kagawa said, his scientific training barely containing his astonishment. The energies within the chamber intensified, creating a maelstrom of light and power that should have annihilated any living thing. Instead, Marcus began to change. His outline became fluid, pulsing with the same fractal patterns they had observed in the anomaly. He's not just surviving it, Ambassador Zorel whispered, crystalline form trembling with excitement. He's adapting to it. Impossible, Lyra breathed, her augmented eye recording everything yet understanding nothing. 20 seconds, Dr. Kagawa announced. The chamber's instruments began to fail, one by one, unable to measure the forces now contained within. The quantum link between the chamber and the anomaly strengthened, creating feedback patterns that rippled across the displays. The anomaly's expansion has stopped, someone shouted. The holographic displays throughout the laboratory confirmed. Yet the quantum disturbance that had threatened 23 star systems had suddenly ceased its expansion. 25 seconds. Marcus's form was now barely recognizable as human, a luminous, shifting presence at the heart of the quantum storm. Waves of energy pulsed from him, and with each pulse, the displays showing the anomaly changed. It's receding, Dr. Kagawa said in disbelief. The anomaly is contracting. 30 seconds, Lyra whispered, unable to tear her gaze from the transformed being who had once been an ordinary maintenance technician. The chamber's door opened automatically, and the energies within dissipated like morning mist. Where the maelstrom had raged moments before, Marcus Chen now stood, unchanged, unharmed, a slight smile on his unremarkable face. He stepped out of the chamber and the door sealed behind him. The laboratory erupted in chaotic sound, exclamations of disbelief, demands for explanations, the beeping of instruments recording impossible data. Ambassador Zorel glided forward, his crystalline form pulsing with rare emotion. You are not what you appear to be, human. None of us are, Marcus replied simply. Lyra approached him, her scientific mind reeling. What did you do? How did you survive? I spoke to it, Marcus said, in the language of quantum potential, and it listened. That's not an explanation, she insisted. The forces in that chamber would have destroyed your molecular structure instantly. No biological organism could withstand that environment. Perhaps you've underestimated what a biological organism can become, he suggested. The displays around them continued to show the anomaly contracting, folding in upon itself until it finally winked out of existence entirely. 23 star systems, billions of lives, saved in 30 seconds. Who are you? Lyra demanded, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus studied her for a moment, his ordinary brown eyes somehow deeper than she remembered. I'm exactly who my file says I am. Marcus Chen, Level 3 maintenance technician. Born on Earth, educated at a community technical college, served in the engineering corps before joining Helios Station. That's impossible, she insisted. Is it? He gestured around them. Look at your assumptions, Dr. Voss. You believed that only the most enhanced, the most educated, the most exceptional could understand the universe's deepest mysteries. You divided humanity into categories, the significant and the insignificant, the somethings and the nothings. Ambassador Krell moved closer, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. The human speaks truth. Your species possesses qualities our own lacks, a unique adaptability that transcends individual status. We've been watching your kind for generations, Ambassador Zorl added, his crystalline form rippling with excitement. Most show promise, but occasionally, we encounter individuals like Marcus Chen, ordinary by all external measures, yet capable of extraordinary feats when circumstances demand. Lyra looked from the ambassadors to Marcus, her worldview crumbling. You're saying he's, what? Some kind of evolutionary leap? No, Marcus said gently. I'm saying that humanity itself is the leap. Our potential isn't limited to those with enhancements or advanced degrees. It exists in all of us, waiting for the right moment, the right challenge. The anomaly, Lyra said slowly, understanding dawning. It was a test. The alien representatives exchanged glances. Not our test, Ambassador Zorl clarified, but a natural consequence of expanding into quantum reality. The universe tests all evolving species. Most fail. What happened in that chamber? Lyra asked Marcus directly. I showed it what humanity could become, he replied. Not through technology or augmentation, but through our inherent ability to adapt, to empathize, to connect. I offered understanding instead of containment. Dr. Kagawa approached, holding a datapad. The readings from the chamber are unlike anything we've ever recorded. Your cellular structure temporarily reorganized itself on a quantum level, creating patterns that mirrored the anomaly's own structure. Communication, Marcus nodded. The most basic form, I become like you so you can understand me. The laboratory had fallen silent, scientists and ambassadors alike watching the exchange with rapt attention. Why you? Lyra asked, her voice softer now. Why not one of us? The U.S. was clear. The scientific elite, the enhanced, the exceptional. Marcus smiled. Because I never forgot what it means to be human. Technology is a tool, Dr. Voss, not an identity. Your enhancements gave you speed and processing power, but they didn't teach you to see beyond your preconceptions. Ambassador, Zorl floated closer. This is why we've watched your species with such interest. You contain multitudes, from cybernetic geniuses to maintenance workers, each with unique contributions. Yet you often fail to recognize your own diversity as strength. Lyra stood very still, her augmented mind processing the implications. Everything she had believed about human potential, about her own superiority, had been challenged by a man she would have passed in the corridor without a second glance. 23 star systems, she said quietly. Billions of lives, saved by someone I considered insignificant. No one is insignificant, Dr. Voss, Marcus replied. That's the lesson here. Not about me, not about you, about all of us. About potential that exists beyond categories and credentials. The alarms that had been blaring throughout the station gradually fell silent as systems registered the threat's dissolution. In the sudden quiet, the magnitude of what had occurred seemed to settle over the laboratory like a physical weight. The Alliance will want a full report, Ambassador Krell said, breaking the silence. This event changes our understanding of both quantum phenomena and human capability. I'll provide everything I can, Marcus promised, but some experiences defy conventional documentation. Lyra found herself at a loss, a novel sensation for someone whose enhanced mind always supplied The right response. I was wrong about you, she finally managed. You were wrong about yourself, Marcus corrected gently. About what makes humans valuable. It's not our achievements or modifications, it's our capacity for growth, for connection, for transcending our limitations when necessary. As the group dispersed to begin the massive task of documenting what had occurred, Lyra remained behind with Marcus. For the first time, she truly looked at him, not as a designation or a position, but as a fellow human. 30 seconds, she said quietly. You changed everything in 30 seconds. Marcus smiled, the unremarkable smile of a maintenance technician who had just saved billions of lives. Sometimes that's all it takes to see the truth. Not about what we are, but about what we could be. Somewhere across the universe, a quantum intelligence continued its journey, carrying with it the memory of a species that had offered understanding, instead of fear. And on Helios Station, a brilliant scientist with an augmented brain began the long process of learning what an ordinary maintenance technician had always known, that no one, no living being in the vast expanse of creation was ever truly nothing.